How do? How's it going? Bloody hell, last week it was 24 degrees. I was walking around in shorts, and today it's strong north wind and freezing cold. Back to winter. It's quite nice in a way, it's refreshing after all that sultry, they call it Indian summer weather. Now they've picked all the grapes now, you can see in the background. I don't usually do these vlog things, but I thought I'd give it a go today. Think about all that stuff you see in the media at the moment. If you're British anyway, you know what I'm talking about. All that Jimmy Savile stuff. Who would have believed it, eh? Seems like he was a right tricky wrong'un. Of course, in North Leeds, where I used to live, where I was brought up, we used to see him going on his bike and going around all the time. There was always rumours that he was sort of like after teenage girls and stuff, but it's just Jimmy Savile, wasn't it? But all this stuff is coming to light now, and the trembly finger goes on pointing to everyone now. And funny enough, it was all the heroes of my childhood. Look at this picture here of me in this t-shirt. Must have been about 9 or something there. With my Gary Glitter t-shirt on. First LP I ever got was Gary Glitter. No, first single I got, Do You Wanna Be in My Gang? I think Do You Wanna Touch Me, Yeah, was on the other side. Snow on the hills over there already. Yeah, back to Gary Glitter and all these kiddie fiddlers from the 70s. And people say, oh, that was the Moors of the 70s. Okay, 70s was a bit cheekier, but I don't think being a pedophile was allowed. So that argument doesn't fit. And I'm a bit sick of the 70s being dissed through this Jimmy Savile crap. People saying that the 70s was a horrible place and full of creepy people. Well, looking back from today, maybe it seems like that to some people, but the 70s was a great time, I thought. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, so we got all this diss in the 70s. And people saying, well, there was programmes in the 70s like Love Thy Neighbour and which was totally racist and racist jokes. And I'm telling you, we used to tell jokes in the 70s and there was no political correctness, no computers, nothing really. But we used to tell jokes about blacks, Jews, spastics, mentally handicapped people. Nobody was safe from a joke in the 70s, and people used to laugh at them. They don't sound funny these days, but they were funny to us then. And you know, it's hard to judge a different decade from 2-3 decades later. That's just the way it was. And nobody thought anything strange about telling these weird jokes. But we did it, and that's the way it was. And you've got to remember, in them days, you had your newspapers and your three channels on television, and that was it. And no internet, no computers, no way of finding out stuff about other things. All your music was bought on vinyl. It was a different time, really. But you know, I see people now from this perspective of looking at things from how it is today, and it's everybody's sure that the decade that we're living in now is so much better and so much purer and so much perfecter than the 70s was. Okay, in the 70s, like, with all this Jimmy Savile and Gary Glitter stuff and God knows what that's going to come out next. Hopefully the politicians who were involved in it are going to get into it next. But it's like, if you think about a kid today with his iPod, not his iPod, with his iPhone or on a computer somewhere, he can just go into the internet and log into hard porn. You know, little kid, I get really worried about what my little boys are going to be looking at in the internet. You know, they might go by accident somewhere and then they get all these images in their head, which is not good for a little kid at all, I don't think. And you know, that's the kind of a muted point. We're all slagging the 70s down, how rough it was and everything, or how depraved it was. But it wasn't really. It wasn't depraved at all. And it's just like that Jimmy Savile shafted everyone, really. It's like all the charities he worked for is shafted, the BBC is shafted, City of Leeds is shafted, who he represented. And I've met up with him a few times on my bike when I was a kid. My sister's been chatted up by him. I remember once I had a crash on my bike and I had concussion. And I remember my mum saying, "Oh, if we go down to Leeds Infirmary and then if you're lucky, Jimmy Savile will be pushing your trolley." And you know, that was somewhat positive, but that we thought was positive. But now, in the light of all these things that have come to light, it's like disgusting, really. But you know what I mean? We have heroes, and they've all got clear feet, and everyone kind of enjoys it, seeing these people brought down to the level of everyone else in a way. And they must be enjoying it, because every time you look in the paper, every day the news story is the latest little tit-tattle about the next celebrity. Yeah, I'm sure they used to do a lot of bottom patting and groping in the 70s and that lot. So I guess I'm a child of the 70s. I was born in the 60s, but I was born in 62, so when your head first starts getting, when you hit the edge of reason, about 7-8 years old, that's when you basically start thinking like you do almost when you're an adult. And so right at the beginning of the 70s and through to the end, that was 8 till 18. So I call myself a child of the 70s, but I'm just not happy with the 70s being dissed as it is at the moment. Because it was, in some ways, a more innocent time than now. You could go down, we didn't have computers, as I said before. We'd be playing on the street every night till it got dark, going places, no one worrying all the time. Of course, your parents says, you know, don't go in the car if anyone offers you some sweets or stuff like that. Like, they didn't think of saying, oh, don't watch Gary Glitter or buy a Gary Glitter CD, or don't watch Jimmy Savile. People didn't even watch that much TV then. There wasn't that much on. But God, this thing's breaking my arm holding this camera all the time. What was it? Where was I now? I'm just going to make little cuts if I make a mistake. Now I've got to watch out me, because I've just been starting to get into that David Icke thing, and he was talking about Jimmy Savile years ago, about him procuring kids for paedophile rings, and everyone was laughing at him and saying no, and now he said the royal family are all involved in all this stuff. Like, you don't know what to think anymore, really. But I guess everywhere, every decade, every place has got its good points and its bad points. Like, look at me, I'm walking along here in the middle of nowhere on my own. So I got out of England when I was about 18 because there was just something about the place. I loved it and I hated it at the same time. And I think it was the class system. You know, if you were finished secondary school, you in the 70s anyway, you got a job in engineering or a carpenter or a plasterer. And any kid who had a bit of a brain and said, yeah, I want to be a vet or a doctor, they say, oh no, you can't do that. Know thy place. Get a job as a bricklayer. Seven years hard work to become a doctor, you won't be able to do that. And that was the mindset in them days. That's one good thing that's changed, like, well, possibly changed, I don't know. And that's why I quite like living here in Germany. I wouldn't say I'm big on the in the society really, I've kept to myself really, but you know, everyone leaves me alone, no one's telling me what to do. I always get the feeling in England I'm being told what to do this, do that, wear a hard hat, wear your protective jacket, health and safety, all that nonsense. It's just, after a while it starts to steal your life force a bit. People telling you what to do all the time. I can see a nice little apple tree there, so I'm going to go and nick a couple of apples. Well, I'm going to nick one anyway. Seems a shame that all these apples are just sitting there and no one's picking them. Delicious. These are just going to all rot away anyway. Might not look so brilliant, but they're great for making apple strudel or something like that. That'll do, don't want to be greedy. I'm a bit sorry for bending your ears as well about all this Jimmy Savile stuff and 70s nonsense and sentimental ramblings. But like I said, I'm out here on my own and well, I can't know when to talk to. So I'll get about 2 or 3 comments from this video probably. Probably from blokes who are about 50 like me. Because we're all kind of sharing the same history. One of those things I found interesting about that guy David Icke, it's like one thing he was saying about a space where you are, like a space here where I am now, that it's mostly empty air, there's a few atoms around, and atoms it's mostly empty space basically, but in that empty space there could be other dimensions that we're not tuned into, and I'm pretty sure of that, and I've wrote quite a few lyrics and songs, and that's why my sort of moniker's Gary Entropy, because it's all about this energy fields. Now, this is all an energy field and we're tuned into it, and maybe that's where ghosts come from. You know, some people can sort of like tune into the next frequency of the next set of atoms that are all there, or maybe they're not atoms. So everything's going on all the time, everywhere, no time or stuff like that. Well, there's one guy out in a plane though. So I think that'll do for today from these little back lanes of Baden-Württemberg. Coming into the outskirts of the village again now, and I don't really... Well, they all know I make videos in this village anyway, but I don't really want to walk through the village with the camera stuck in my face babbling away. But winter's certainly coming. So I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. It might be a 20-minute video. I've never done a 20-minute video. Well, whatever. Have a nice day. So I think that's enough from me. Not really important what I'm saying. I'm just babbling along, and if it interests anyone, then that's even better. Everyone's a winner. So have a great day, whatever you're doing.